So welcome everyone to the final sprint review and demo for Profile Builder. We are the cross-market internship team this year, summer 2016, and we are very excited that you guys are here to see our demo. So this is how the agenda looks like. We'll go through the intern introduction first. I'll explain a little bit about the structure of the team. We'll see what the problem statement was, product vision, the solution that we came up with. We'll go through the internship structure, the feature list that we accomplished. Then we'll do a live demo of Profile Builder. Peter will take us through the quality assurance part, and then we'll talk about transition, next steps. We'd also like for you to ask us questions and provide feedback. So let's get started. Let me introduce you to the team. We have Annie, Peter, Tobin, Alex, and me, Gargi. And Annie, Tobin, and Alex are our dev team. Peter is our QA, and I'm the solution owner for the team. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who helped make Profile Builder a success. So we have Greg Martin as our product owner, Joel Foreman, Brian Jacobson, Ski, Katie as our primary sponsors. Solutions team, we have Leighton Hayes, who was our UX lead, Chris and Jordan as our principal architects, and Sam, Doug, and James, who worked really closely with the team, helped us every single day. And I also like to thank Andrew, Greg, Steve, and Ryan for providing us technical support throughout the project. Also thank all the people manager for providing additional support, Jordan, Chauncey, Pawan, and Ted Crane. So let's assume I'm the pursuer and I want to create a client proposal, and I want 3 profiles. I have identified my resources. I go to Edge to find the client-facing profile. And what do I get? So 3 different profiles, 3 different formats.
These are real, right?
Yeah, these are real. I just pulled them all off Edge. So and up to date.
Can we get the red underline when we ship it off to clients?
So we have 3 different logos, 3 different formats. It's all very messy. So this is where the problem lies, and we wanted a proper solution for this. The whole process was very reactive. So the pursuer sends an email to the client, to the consultant. Consultant digs their own drive, goes to Edge, updates the client-facing profile, sends it back to the pursuer, and then it goes to the client. It was a long reactive process. We wanted something which was more proactive and involved lesser number of steps. So this is what the product vision was. We wanted an MVP version of Profile Builder, a slalom profile management system which would help a resource collect, update, and maintain a slalom profile efficiently and effectively. The features that we wanted in Profile Builder was a standardized profile template format. We wanted it to be a user-friendly, web-based interface which would help the user to update and customize the profile well. We wanted a curated slalom project description. So what this means is we wanted everyone in the team to have the same project description for their slalom projects. And I'll talk about this a little bit later, because we involved Project Snapshot, which is an ongoing project. It's an already existing project which serves as a data source for this project. We wanted to enable multiple export formats and on-demand search and download, and also alert notification. So if a user has something missing on his profile, the user will get alert notifications to fill out missing information. So these were the features that we wanted, and we accomplished. Any question about the features that we wanted? Okay. So this whole internship project was was modeled very closely to an ideal slalom project. So we had a discovery phase before the interns came in with the solutions team, UX team, and the architect team. The whole project was divided into 4 different sprints. We started off with sprint 0, which was for 1 week, and then we had 2-week sprints following them. And then At the end of the fourth week, so this week we had the final week, and we did the transition to IT in this week, and we did a lot of documentation and filling up project snapshot. I'll talk about that later. What we did so this is how the project internship structure was laid out, and project snapshot is something which we selected a few solution owners, and we asked them to fill out all the projects they've led till now, and so that it pre-populates Profile Builder, pre-populates the project description in Profile Builder, and you'll see a snapshot of that when we demo you the application. Okay, feature list. So Profile Builder has these list of features. We started off with Profile Builder API setup. We did nightly syncs. So basically, we get information from ChangePoint API. So ChangePoint is our data source where we get information about the profiles. We have the Snapshot API, which gives us information about the projects. And the nightly sync, which is the Profile Builder sync, merges the information and populates our Profile Builder database. We have the project alerts, which I already spoke about. It lets us know any missing information in our project, in our profile. We have the search functionality, viewing someone else's profile. We also did edit, add and update, customize, and export to Word functionality. So these are all the features that we accomplished. But wait, we did stretch goals. So we were successful in incorporating profile pictures. We have redesigned a Word template, which Layden helped us design, and we also have email notifications. So let's get to the good part.
Is it logged? Already logged in?
Yeah.
So that was just signing in through the SSO, just like the rest of everything else with Slalom. And this is Profile Builder. Upon your first time logging in and viewing your own profile, you're going to see these yellow boxes with dotted outlines. And these serve as a reminder that there is urgent fields of the profile that need to be filled out. These specific fields include the user summary, and then the roles section, and contributions of a Slalom experience. And I just wanted to take a second for those interested in the snapshot side of things. The client name, location, and the duration of the project all come from Project Snapshot. And in case these dotted lined yellow boxes aren't enough of a reminder, let's say you're scrolled further down the page where those are out of sight. We have a notification bar down here at the bottom with a message letting you know which section needs to be filled out. Clicking anywhere inside here automatically scrolls you to that section and enables it for editing. After you've entered in the summary, you can save it, and the message in the notification bar switches out to the next field that needs to be edited. So again, if I was down here and I click it, it pulls this one open for editing. So,
For example.
for example, some role. And lastly, as a contribution, she developed. After all those fields have been filled out, the notification bar goes away, out of sight, and other sections can be filled out. The next section is areas of expertise, and to add one or more of those to the profile, you click on the Add button, opens up the search box, and after typing one or more characters, a drop-down list appears of all the relevant expertise associated with your search. You can select one with the mouse and click Add, or after your search, you can also navigate with the arrow keys and add by hitting Enter. If you search for one and you don't see it on the list, because this is an expertise that not many people have, you can still add it directly. And now that expertise is shared with anyone else in the system. Industries works in a similar fashion with two exceptions. One, it's a curated list of only the slalom-approved industries. And two, it's not searchable because this list is much shorter as opposed to the expertise list, which is like over 600 of them in there. So this one's more manageable. They can be added in as such, again with the arrow keys also. And if you decide that you don't want an industry or an expertise, you can effortlessly delete one from your profile. Now I'm going to hand it over to Annie, and she's going to show off some more features of the profile.
Thanks. So here on the rest of the page, there's more sections where users can add additional information about themselves. This section here is the prior experience, which will allow a user to enter information about any professional experience they had prior to working at Slalom. So the company name goes here, the location goes here, the role can be entered here. Clicking in either of these date fields will pop up this calendar that allows you to easily select the month and year for your start and end date of this experience. Here you can enter a description about what it was you did in this professional prior experience to slalom. And all of these optional boxes allow you to enter specific contributions that explains more about what specifically you added to this experience. And so you can save that by hitting the check mark here, and you'll have your prior experience. And if you wish to edit it, you can just click this button and make any changes you want. And if you decide you didn't want to edit it after all, you can hit this cancel button and it'll go back to what it was before. In this section, you have education, so you can enter a degree that you've received. You've got the institution, the degree, and the location. That you can enter in these fields. And you can save that just like with the prior experience. And if you want for any of these fields, you can add additional ones. And there's some validation on it. So for example, you can't have a duplicate education, which would mean the exact same institution and degree. And then this last field is so that users can enter any certifications and recognitions that they have, which will appear in a bulleted list down at the bottom here. And if you wish to delete a certification, you can just click this X similar to the industries and expertise, and then it will go away. Are there any questions? So now I'll hand it off to Alex, who can talk more about the profiles.
Thank you. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is this header bar up here. It has a link to your own profile, Slalom 1, Edge, as well as Change Point. And that was something that people kind of wanted when they were testing it. This also links to your own profile. The search bar will search for someone after you've typed 3 letters. And just like areas, expertise, and industries, you can go up and down using the arrow keys. You're also able to export on from the search dropdown, but I'll show you that in a little bit. If for some reason you've typed a name that doesn't exist in our database, you'll get a no results found. But for right now, let's go to Sam's profile. And we can see what an entirely filled out profile looks like. So you can see that he has slalom experiences that he has filled out. Right here, he has an experience that he has not filled out. Oops. And so that's indicated with the dotted lines. Below that, we have prior experiences again. And below that, we have educations, and finally, certification recognitions, like we saw before. Now, if I wanted to export his profile, I could do so by just clicking this word export button right there. and it will download his profile as a Word document. And here you can see his entire profile has been put into this Word document in the same way that it shows up on the page that you just saw. So we have all of the same experiences, and down below, certifications and whatnot. If for some reason I wanted to change his profile, so suppose that I wanted to move software development up to the front, and I wanted media to be at the front as well, I could do so. And suppose that I only wanted to see this first experience, I can actually hide the rest of the experiences that are in his list by clicking on these buttons right here. And now when I export the profile, it will reflect all the changes that I've made on this. So we only have that single experience, and software development and media are at the top of these two lists. Now, as mentioned earlier, we completed a stretch goal of creating a new Word template, and that's available right here. And so this one was created by Leighton, and it works the exact same as our other export button, but with an updated view. So you can see there's still only one experience and media and software at the top. Are there any questions about what I just showed off?
You rearrange the expertise as a stick for the session, or the?
It's just on the front end, so it doesn't get saved to the database at all.
So the real use case is I own a Pursuit. It's going to be featuring a certain set of technologies.
Mhm.
I want to move all those to the top. So I do that real quick. I export. So that's the first thing the client sees.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you have something that's not fully filled out when you export to Word, what does it look like?
Yeah, so if we look at his experience that wasn't filled out, I'm going to have to search for it because I don't remember which one it was. So the last one in the list, if we export this, it should just not have those fields. So let's find that one. So this one right here, it doesn't say what his role was, and it doesn't give contributions that were listed there. Cool. So now I'll hand it off to Peter to talk about the QA.
Thanks, Alex. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the definition of done for Profile Builder. So I'll kind of walk you through the different swim lanes and kind of our process that we followed throughout the 10 weeks. So first, stories start in the to-do column, and that's where developers pick them up and start working on them. And then at that point, when they feel like the functionality has been addressed, they do what we call a pre-PR demo. And that's with me and Gargi. And so that's where we can kind of make sure that all the major acceptance criteria are met and catch any bugs early on before it goes through the code review process, which we thought worked out really well. Next, at that point, if everything looks good, then they issue a pull request. And the pull request requires 2 approvers. So one needs to be an SA, and then the other one can be another member of the team. And then once we have those 2 approvals, it moves to the QA column, and that's where I do all of my testing. So I do automated testing, manual testing, which includes integration, functional, checking all the unit tests, making sure that they pass, UI tests for all the major use cases. That would be referencing all the test cases in my test suite that I have on Confluence, and then also doing any relevant regression testing as necessary. And if everything passes there and there's no bugs, then it moves into the done column. But if there are bugs, and say there are some major bugs, like they violate an acceptance criteria, I actually move the story back into the dev in progress, and so they can address those issues. But if they're really minor or trivial bugs, then usually I'd move the story into the done column and then just file minor bugs that we can address later. Does anyone have any questions about the definition of done?
Cool. One prior to done.
Yeah.
Like all the updates you make into the profile builder, does it go back into Slalom 1? Does it update Slalom 1 to what people see on Slalom 1?
I don't think that integration is set
No,
up
that's
yet.
not been set
I
up
think
yet.
that's probably a future kind of thing that would be pretty cool. Yeah.
That's not an MPT, Mike.
Good question.
I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
In order to, the thing that kicked it off, I think you mentioned at the very beginning, was
Yeah.
it comes from the project snapshot.
Yes.
So the project has to be in there for you to get notified if you have something to fill out. And
Correct.
It pulls the standard definition of the project from there, so all the people in the project have the same
Right.
core definition.
Right.
And we're going, I believe, maybe you can comment more. Are you going to talk about the exercise we're going to get?
Yeah,
information
I'm
identified
going to
in
talk
text?
about it
Okay.
after the slide.
Yeah. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I've been using a combination of automation and manual testing for this project. We have a grand total of 142 bugs logged for the 10 weeks, which sounds like a lot, but the developers really powered through, and we only have 7 bugs remaining, and 2 of these are minor bugs and the rest are trivial, so they really did a great job with that. And now we have a 95% bug resolution, which I think is pretty good. Next, this is just a quick screenshot of some of the automated UI tests that I made with Protractor. These are kind of broken into 2 different areas. So first we have the view profile tests, where you're looking at your own profile and making sure that all that data that's on the page matches up with what's in the database. And then next you look at someone else's, yeah, it's a good test here. You look at someone else's profile and you make sure that everything matches up there. And what you see here is actually the edit profile functionality. So basically what that does is it goes through all the major use cases and editing functionality, goes through the SSO that we have set up, and then logs into the test user that we have, which is just profile_builder. And then it checks all the validation. So it makes sure that the max lengths are enforced, all the invalid characters aren't allowed, saving functionality works, canceling functionality, and that's for the personal summary and areas of expertise, as you'll see in a second, and industries as well. So it's kind of validating all these things and making sure that all the features that the developers have created are still working, kind of always working. So, and that's all I have for automation. Are there any questions about that? Or?
Did you catch? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Did you catch any regressions introduced by developers with your automation?
I did a couple, yeah, minor. So that's very helpful. I definitely see the value of automated testing.
Were there any unit tests for the front end part, adding, removing things to handle that, or was it all just captured with your automated testing?
I think I did more kind of integration tests with that, checking at different areas, just making sure that changes were persisted and things. Yeah.
Did you end up automating back-end tests?
Oh, yes, I did, actually. I forgot to mention that. Thank you. I also, thanks, James. I automated the API tests as well, so making sure that what's returned in the JSON from like the profile API, the change point API, and the snapshot API is all working properly. Error codes are working, and those are up and running with the continuous integration. So they're running at every build, and those are constantly being validated.
How many total tests were written? Automation tests?
I have to get back to you on the exact number. I'm not sure.
Rough guess.
I'd say, I guess I did probably about half of the edit profile functionality, but I wish I had gotten more. It's kind of, I don't know.
50, 100, a million?
Couple hundred.
Couple hundred.
Yeah. Yeah. Doing that and then also managing all the manual testing it's a big job. I want to say. Yeah. Anything else?
Awesome.
Great. Now I'm going to pass it off to Gargi, who's going to talk a little bit more about the transition to IT and the handout.
Thank you, Peter. So, as I mentioned before, transition to IT is something which we are doing this week. So we did a lot of documentation, and we had 2 meetings with Ski and Topher. We went through the code base with them, and so that's what we did in transition to IT. And last week, we did a UAT for the application. So we released the application to people from different teams. So we had them go through the application, and they provided us valuable feedback. We incorporated them as polished bugs and change requests into our application. And that's when we realized that people do not have the Slalom project description already populated in their profiles. So as we saw in Sam's profile, so this section was missing. So we wanted a way to have the description already there. So that's the data we are pulling in from Project Snapshot, which resides in SharePoint. So we want all the SAs and SOs to go back and actually create a description for all the projects that they have led in the past couple of years, so that they appear in Profile Builder for all the team members. So that's something which we're actually doing this week, and we encourage you guys to go back and do that for us. That would be awesome. And
it's not too bad though when you think about it, right?
yeah, it just takes 5 minutes to fill out. a description.
I want to write the one paragraph description that way. We'll get on.
It's one project for all team members.
All the team. Yeah. Cool. So the next steps, Greg and Sam would take over the project after we are gone, and there is a beta testing which is planned in future. Anything else you guys want to add, Sam, Greg?
I'll let you talk about that, Craig.
You're gonna add a couple more tests.
Yeah, we got to add some more tests. We have to have some discussion. So, in terms of, there's a lot of activity going on from an operational perspective with Solemn, and where this fits in the priorities for what Brian's got going, and what IT has going. We don't want to lose the momentum, but we have to fit it into the schedule. So my hope is that we could at least get a beta that involves the cross-market team to start leveraging this more heavily, and get a rollout time. So we have some more to do on that.
Luckily, the Morpheus project's not ready for our devs yet, so
So they got time.
we might have some
Quick.
quick.
What if
Hand off
Set up a
quickly.
meeting for next week.
What does have you thought about when we're ready for beta, will the ask be for everyone to just take their own profile and just enter it in there?
So we'll have to, when we make the transition to leverage this, it has to be complete. It can't be partial. We can't have some people still using the Word version, some people using this. So we have steps to make sure the data is populated, the projects are in there. There's some nuance to some of the data in snapshots that has to be ironed out to make sure that that's complete and accurate. So that it is a true cutover versus kind of half done.
Easiest way to do that is just remove all the existing ones from SharePoint and not show them.
There you go. Just do all the documents.
Spoken like a true change this whole
I missed the first 15 minutes, so I apologize. But is there an ingestion process, or is it just like go into the website and enter it in?
So there was an existing effort to build a project snapshots library in SharePoint that houses a number of project stories. And so rather than create a new data store, we leverage that existing
I
data
get the
store.
project story part, but like for
The
slide
profiles.
with Word document, you push a button and say, okay, now it's populated.
To
Or you
import
go
the
into
data.
website. Yes.
There will have to be, if you have a Word document, that basically is thrown away at this point. And if the projects that make up your profile are missing, there may be a data entry aspect. Somebody may need to go in and add that particular project into the Snapshots app, and then it will get sucked into this application. So there will be.
I probably missed that important part of the beginning there.
I think the key is that it'll be let's get any projects that aren't in the snapshots in there. We'll be maybe educating people on how to do that, to see it. And once that's there, then it should be, I think it will be a 10-minute exercise to take your profile and just give it to this tool. And we'll ask each person to do that.
There's a name associated with each project snapshot.
Yeah, so you add the names for every person who was on that.
I can go through the exercise if you want. It's like a 5-minute thing. So this is
You could show
projects.
them a real one too, like somebody
Okay.
that's already filled one of these out just to see
Yeah.
what it looks like.
So today morning, me and Rebecca went through one project snapshot together. So this is her project snapshot. The client is Specific Dental. The engagement ID is there, sector, industry, market, the role of the people in the team, work tag, type of work, and the snapshot managers. This needs to be renamed into team members. So these are the team members in her team, and this was created by Rebecca. So this is how a snapshot looks like. So what you'll ideally do is create a new snapshot, enter a client name. So for example, Starbucks. And you'll see that there are already 15 engagements.
This is coming from ChangePoint.
Got it.
And you select one of them, say, sorry. So let's say this one. So you add a project headline. This is what we want. This is the description. So you can see an example. It needs to be like a 1 paragraph to 3 lines description. You don't need to upload slides, so that's not required. Select a time frame and sector. So consumer goods. Select work tags. Let's say name only, Seattle. select a picture, and you can see that the team members are already pre-populated. So it has Chris and Alex's name there, and then you hit submit, and that's how it gets added.
That existed already. There were some changes that we submitted into that tool so they would match up, but it was already done.
I think like what we talked about, right, is the way that to get more proactive is that can get filled out when projects start. And so that it'll already be there, right, for consultants to enter that information early in the process versus after it's done.
I think going forward, I think this will make a lot of sense to capture all the historical data left. I think it's the best way to get that through. Thousands of projects out there that you may not want to go through the big snapshots.
We were thinking of data entry party with alcohol. All the data.
I'm sure you want some of those descriptions going on.
Projects will get better and better.
Yeah, exactly. Gargi, did you guys in your design have any challenges getting decisions on like which fields should be curated versus freeform? Were there open issues around that or questions, or was that pretty clear cut?
Initially, there was like a UI review that we did with Greg, Sam, and Leighton. So we went through fields which we thought could be freeform or should be like a drop-down list. So we did have like one round of review, and then after that, pretty much we had like everything ready, the red lines ready, assets ready. Rain was super helpful.
That's great.
Yeah.
There were a couple of things. The industries, the
Yeah.
alignment to the initiative to get those standardized kind of came up in the midst of this, and we snapped to that. You'll notice that what we don't have right now is when you look at it on the web, you see client in Seattle and then parentheses. The intent, because on our profiles we obfuscate our client names, we wanted to say
Healthcare company in Seattle.
some more interesting thing than client in Seattle, but there isn't a field right now in snapshots for that kind of sanitized version. So that's the current
I get it. One of the ones I found interesting was expertise. You know, it's something Brian and I talk a lot about. Going forward, we want to put that in the hands of our consultants. What's your expertise? And one of the questions, especially with all the technologies we deal with, is it curated, or do you let everyone?
Night vision.
Night vision.
Night vision, like tomorrow, right?
You said that gets shared with the rest, so that's stored in the database.
You'll always see that.
We spent a lot of time talking about that.
Yeah, I bet you did. Yeah.
It ended up being, you can think of it as tags, right? So the first person to have night vision, the next person to have night vision is attached to the same one. So there's future state where you could think, I need to search for all the people with night vision, and you actually have that opportunity. That also means if something weird ends up in there, once you can clean it up, or you can consolidate it back.
Night vision, maybe one word, Greg.
Yeah. Night dash vision.
Not 2 words, dash.
There's an opportunity to manage those things in the back end if people, to write, .NET or spell it out. Somebody later clean those things up and mash them up.
Also, the project snapshot that we just went through, the data in there is a little out of date because there are. So if you see markets, LA, Philadelphia, the new markets are not there on there. So that data is also obsolete. So
What were the top 3 features you weren't able to get in? Would have liked to?
Would like to. The next feature on the list was PowerPoint, export to PowerPoint, but we fell short of time, and and the other one,
like LinkedIn, I think.
LinkedIn, integration,
Pull
information from
so
LinkedIn.
prior experience, you get initial import from LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but we are able to do custom Word templates.
So if you come up with a new template, you can replace it with new one. It'll still work.
It's a controlled database, though.
Yeah.
So the idea would be that we have like a official approved Slalom profile template, but we've enabled the ability to have multiple templates so that if there's a new upgraded version, we could just cut over to that.
So for instance, if a client had a particular format that they wanted it in, we'd have to figure out some sort of process to be able to approve that as a template.
Yeah, but I don't know that these are Slalom profiles, right? This is Slalom
that's less common. I think the PowerPoint thing is probably
the PowerPoint's a really big one, actually. There isn't a standard PowerPoint slide, although we oftentimes create PowerPoint versions, so as a stretch goal, first defining a standard and then integrating it into here. One of the other ideas in terms of future state is actually getting away from Word documents altogether, and can you get to a point where you select a team of people, export that into a temporary web site where you can put a little introduction. Hey, here's your team, here's their pictures, here's their expertise, hit this link that we sent you, versus here's a document that's going to get out of date, and then if we do change something, it's actually reflected in that, and you can put an expiration date on it, that kind of thing. So those are, cool things we can do in the future. Once you get this into a state where your data is actually in one place, which is the biggest problem we have today, right?
Yep.
So that was, we can go a lot of different directions.
Call that team building.
Tony's got a lot to do, so.
So I have a question for the team. One of the hardest parts about doing a project like this is managing who the product owner. I'm just curious how for you, and how would you grade your product owner?
Oh my God.
Answer carefully.
Keep in mind, there is a right answer.
I think Greg was an excellent product owner.
Good answer.
So A+.
Yeah.
You're only as good as the team that's actually doing the work.
So A+ then. Yes.
Great.
Yeah, well done.
Great work.
Thank you for joining us.
Maybe a couple of quick comments. I mean, super excited. Thank you for spending the summer with us. In terms of where the internship program is at, this is awesome. This is our second official year. We have teams in Seattle and Chicago. This is the first time that we had solution owner and QA representation in the team. I was super excited. I was super excited to see that. I feel like it was a resounding success. So definitely excited to continue that model going forward, and definitely hope to, as the maturity of our other delivery centers continues, we look to expand